Alright, so here we go. I'm just doing a sweet little video edit for one of my clients, and we are starting off with a presentation, a slide deck. So we did a framework, we have the slide deck, and now my client does the presentation. We have it recorded, follow along, kind of like how you see on the screen right now, where it's me and the slide deck. But I'm going to show you what I do once the recording is complete. Everyone has a different style, everyone has a different charisma on the camera, so this is just one person trying to do their best with what they have. We did record it here in the studio here in our office, so our equipment was right, but it wasn't being used the right way. So you need to be able to be close to the microphone. You need to know your equipment. We had some background noise, so we did add some filters in this system. We used DaVinci to edit the videos, so we added some filters to clean up the noise a little bit, the background noise. That's because we weren't close enough to the microphone when we were doing the recording. My fault. I should have interrupted and told him to get a little bit closer. But I'm going to show you now the side-by-side how we do the editing. This is a typical presentation. Now this was the intention was to do a webinar off of this slide deck. However, being that it was a little bit too long, we decided it was best to break it up and turn it into a course, an online course. So now we have over 6 sections of this course. We have the slide deck to go along with it, and what we want to do is streamline it as much as possible. So some of the editing is going to be the dead noise, the little gaps of time, cleaning up as much ums and uhs as possible, and cutting the whole video at the proper section so that we can use one video per section. Now I'm going along with it on the slide deck, so I know where we are on the slide deck, and this is just pretty much the system or the workflow which we use to edit the recording of the web event. So follow along with me. I'll try to narrate as we go. Right now we're in DaVinci Resolve. See all these cuts here. These are cuts that were either time cuts, where I'll show you in a little bit, or just gaps where he was trying to find the right slide to continue the presentation. So I'm going to share the audio of the desktop audio, so you might hear a bit of the presentation as I go along. But this will give you a pretty good idea as to how this works, the system of editing. Usually people will send this out to get it edited, but we like to do everything here in-house. At the moment we have the bandwidth to do so, and we have a little bit more control, so we are self-performing in that sense. We don't like to send anything out if we don't have to. So here we go. We'll continue.
Scenario A again is not optimized. Ward filed at age 60.
Now I'm going to change the output into my headphones, because with the output in my headphones I'll be able to hear a little bit better quality. So here we go.
In this scenario, and now he's 70 years old.
Now I see this little gap here. It might not be too bad of a gap for the next part.
June filed at 62, and now she's 67. And they're receiving a combined Social Security income of $41,193. Remember, the income goal was $75,000 pre-tax.
Now this is a pretty big gap no matter what, so what I do is I right click, snip it, and then I'll drag it to the next part, to right where he starts to talk. And I'm looking here, this is the audio, so I know where he starts to talk. And then I will delete that little dead air, and we'll see how it sounds.
So $36,000 needs to be withdrawn from their IRA account, which they have to pay taxes on, in order to make up their income gap. Almost $37,000 annually.
Here's another gap, and we will start to edit that out. And again, I like to see what it sounds like.
Now notice scenario B.
There you go.
The optimized strategy.
It's pretty
Ward
good.
files at age 70 and June files at age 66. Now after Ward files, they receive a combined Social Security benefits of $62,759.
This is again a bigger gap, so I'm just gonna bring it over and cut that out.
So in scenario B, a lesser amount of $15,286 needs to be withdrawn annually from the IRA accounts.
And if you notice, the camera angle is very stationary. That helps in editing, because once I cut out some sections, it doesn't show such a drastic frame difference. His head position is always the same, so the cut doesn't look so unnatural.
Because they aren't claiming their Social Security benefits until later, they initially withdraw their full income of $75,000 per year from their IRA.
So here, obviously, there's a big gap. We're going to clean that out. I'd like to see what was missed. And it looks like this little bit here, the end of it we can keep, because it shows the point of what he's trying to make with the added info.
Now, one solution to solving the income gap for the Cleavers is to withdraw assets from an IRA.
That's a pretty big gap.
IRA. This slide looks at one consequence that can occur if Social Security benefits are not optimized.
So you could see how this adds up if you look at the timeline, how many cuts and edits we did. It makes a pretty big difference, especially something like this right here.
Under scenario A, $36,188 is withdrawn from an IRA the first year of their retirement.
We'll edit this, a little gap out here.
Continue to withdraw that amount each year, adjusted for inflation. Now in this scenario, Ward dies at age 82.
This looks like a pretty big gap. We'll give it just a little bit less. Remember, this all adds up.
Total Social Security benefit amount decreases, so June now needs to take more money out of the IRA. The $500,000 in the IRA account is drawn down to $15,736 after 20 years. Let's take a
That was a big jump there. Cut that out.
years. Let's take a look at scenario B, the optimized scenario. The first year, Ward and June are collecting Social Security. $15,286 is withdrawn from an IRA account.
Now, do I pick and choose what? Yeah, I do. So sometimes I want to keep the flow going, and it sounds like it's okay. The gap is deserved. Sometimes taking the gap out doesn't change the message at all. So if it doesn't change the message at all, then I'll take it out.
Now that number actually drops a little each year because their Social Security benefit goes up as is adjusted for inflation.
I'm also trying to keep in mind the background noise, and when there's dead air, the microphone picks up more background noise than I would like it to, being that the recording was so far out. So I try to minimize that or mitigate it by taking out this dead air.
Remember, for the 3 years that they delayed claiming Social Security, they withdrew $75,000 a year from their IRA. So we're going to take that into account.
If you notice the recording, as he speaks, the sound sounds a lot better. When there's dead air, there's a lot of background noise. There's a lot of noise in the video, especially when he starts to talk. Then the microphone adjusts.
Account. When Ward dies at age 82, the total Social Security benefit amount decreases. So just like in scenario A, June needs to start withdrawing more money from that IRA. Now compare the difference in the amount left in the IRA after 20 years. About $16,000 versus $215,000. That difference is because in scenario B, the Cleavers generated more income from Social Security, which meant they could preserve more of their other retirement assets. Now,
you can hear how loud that background noise is, and that's why I'm trying to be selective with what I pick.
Now consider the very real possibility that June will outlive her life expectancy. Think about the impact that IRA could have on her lifestyle in both scenarios. To recap, danger number one, Ward in June could spend down.
I did hear the background noise get pretty loud, so I am going to cut it out again.
Recap, danger number one, Ward in June could spend down their IRA more rapidly. Almost $200,000 of potential IRA value and growth was lost because
So this just has to do with a gap in his speech there, the time, and we'll keep going.
Security benefits were not optimized.
You hear how loud the background noise gets.
Now this slide looks Nelson.
So as I remove these pieces out of the timeline, the noise, the background noise, the loud noise that you hear will be slowly eliminated, and all you hear is the vocal.
Optimized. Now this slide looks at another consequence that can occur if Social Security benefits are not optimized. Remember, IRA distributions are fully taxable, and Social Security benefits are only partially taxable. The more income the Cleavers can generate from Social Security, the less they need to take from an IRA account, which will likely reduce their taxable income.
Here's another section I'm going to cut out.
More taxable income they have.
So I'm just going to stop it here. I'm going to regroup once I'm doing another I'll do another video just to let you know how it's going, what the next stage is. So then eventually you'll see how we build the actual course. So we'll stop this video here. Hopefully you learned a little something. You kind of came with me to work and see how some of the day goes with in regards to video editing.